Oh. And all these different birds.
Long-billed bloodsucker.
Yeah. And all these different birds.
Piles up dirt for roosting places.
Yeah, yeah. Different.
Now, did his artwork go in the news press?
No.
You
No,
made a poster?
we gave it to the Audubon Society
That's right.
at their convention. We don't know what they did with them. But there was one that went to Tallahassee because it was the one that was the Tallahassee sandbar seller. And it says he sits on a board in Tallahassee, and it has a little board, he's sitting on the board, and his cry is, sell it cheap, cheap, cheap.
Oh, that's clever.
And the guy that was head of the trustee's office had it hanging on his wall. He had it framed hanging on his wall.
Yeah, that was in Tallahassee.
So God only knows.
They had no shame, you know, in Tallahassee.
But anyway, yeah, we had fun. Had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, well.
But Roland is when we were trying to get him elected was when I told you about my telephone being tapped.
Yes.
Because I invited people to a party, to a coffee. The money that I knew, neighbors coming in.
Now, you were living on the beach at the time?
No, living right there in Fort Myers on the 11th fairway of the golf course.
Omita Way.
Okay.
The first one on the other side of the
Yeah,
country club.
right next to, right on the
But we knew them from the beach.
Yeah, we've been real close friends. We moved into town because the girls were in high school, you know. And it was just, so, they talking, people talking on the phone. We never did know who they were or where they were.
It was an interesting childhood. It started at Fort Myers Beach when I just started elementary school, really.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, we got a nice phone call from one, I told you about that. The people that ran, what's it, hardware store down there? No, it wasn't hardware, that was the one near Cousin Wall. Tackle shop, yeah. But everybody else is gone now.
What was their name again?
I can't think of it now, I was gonna try.
Begin with an S.
It'll come back to me,
Yeah.
And they called you after Bill got the resolution?
yeah. Yeah, he was just so,
2012.
they were just so glad. And I didn't make me feel good, you know, but, oh, we made a lot of it. There's
So
some
I gotta
other,
tell you, Fort Myers Beach in the 50s and early 60s was a really nice place to
yes, it
live.
was.
You would have built a wall like Trump and put razor wire on it to keep the people off because
Right.
there wasn't a high rise. And the water was beautiful,
Well,
the
hey,
fishing was beautiful.
When I was a kid, there wasn't a high rise up.
I mean, there wasn't a swimming pool except the Rancho Del Mar, which was the last thing at the end by the Catholic Church.
If you wanted to swim in the pool.
And Mother sent me down there for swimming lessons. Okay. I had never been swimming anywhere where I didn't walk in on the sand until I felt comfortable at that, and I would swim around and put my feet down. She signed me up for swimming lessons. I was very young, 7, 8, 6, 7. And I went to the Rancho Del Mar for my swimming lesson because they had a pool. Nobody had a pool on the whole island. And they took me to the deep end and threw me in.
Is Rancho Del Mar where Outrigger is, or about where? Holiday Inn?
Right where the S curve, we call it the S curve.
Catholic Church.
Yeah, just
The
beyond
very
Catholic Church.
first street.
Okay,
That's Ibis or something there.
okay.
And the Rancho Del Mar was on the beach side
It was a,
at that corner.
it was a
Just
small
a little motel with a
One
little
story.
swimming pool,
one story.
chlorine swimming pool, not salt water, which I hated. And they made me jump in the deep end where I couldn't touch and told me to swim. And I think I told Mother, that's it, I'm done.
That's funny.
Because I had never been anywhere where I couldn't just walk in.
Right, right.
And that was foolish to be thrown in.
What street did y'all live on the beach?
Bayview.
Bayview Avenue. Remember when we drove by it that
Dead
one time?
center.
The house is gone. They put up a
Exactly the middle of the
monstrosity.
island, and right across from Halipacne Pass. The Bayview Avenue went through the water, and it looked straight across, and there was Halipacne Pass right there.
You could, from the porch, we could see the beach, and before they built houses and stuff, you could look down and you could really almost see the bay at the end of the street, because it was the narrow point of the island.
Right.
And, it was.
And that's the house that Bill had brought from the
The
bunker.
latrine,
latrine.
Casa Latrina.
Casa
Casa
Latrina.
Latrina. You brought it over from
Buckingham.
the Buckingham.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There
And you
was-
know, the one next door is still there. The original house is still there.
Really?
Mrs. Hamming's
Yeah.
house.
Yeah,
What
ours was
street
just-
is it? It's on.
Bayview,
Bayview,
right,
right next door
door.
to where our house, which has been replaced by a humongous 3-story.
But you go look at that one on the next
The one
door
right
on
next door.
tiling, and with the porch on 2 sides of the front. That's the way
Yeah,
ours was.
it's a
They
little
copied
cottage.
ours.
A
Now,
little,
did Casa Latrina come down the river, or was it brought on a? Was it
Brought
brought
on
on
a
a barge?
Brought on a
Yeah,
barge.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Brought
Yeah.
a barge
Oh,
all the way
no.
down to.
They started in the Orange River, which is went to Buckingham. See, Orange River down to the Caloosahatchee River, and down to the bay, Carlos Bay, back up behind the beach.
That's amazing.
And they were unloaded at the end of Sable Drive.
and what, how many of those things were, the grandpa's along?
He had 3 over on Strandview,
Yeah.
and Tommy Howard had 1. I mean, Tommy.
But
Jim-
along
Tommy
Where
Jim.
the
Estero
cottage.
Boulevard.
No, that was the infirmary building.
Infirmary, I'm sorry.
One of them was a latrine.
Yeah.
So a latrine building, and then half of the big, that was half of it. We lost half of the building. There was half the building up on Cribbing. And along came a storm, big storm, blew it off the cribbing and destroyed it.
It was temporarily put up.
That was the front infirmary building.
What is
Yeah.
cribbing? What is?
Well, stacked up.
Just stacked up timbers, just jacked up
What
in
is
the
Okay.
cribbing?
And where was this that it was lost in the storm?
Buckingham?
Was it still in Buckingham?
No, right on the beach.
Still on the beach.
Oh.
All getting moved to the beach,
Oh.
and getting ready to set it down.
Listen.
Along came a storm and knocked it
He
over.
doesn't tell
So
me.
now it's an artificial reef.
No.
Well, they stacked it up on cribbing because they were gonna raise it 8 feet up and put pilings
Yeah,
on
they
it.
haven't
right.
got the piling down
Right,
yet.
right.
Well, it was right on Estero Boulevard, across the street from where Ross built the
Right.
pig house.
Right,
The-
Strandview.
Taylor
Between Bayview
Street.
and, between
Stra-
Bayview
Strandview.
Avenue and Strandview.
Okay.
And there's Gulfview in between.
There's Gulfview in between.
Tommy
and on
Jennings had one of the
On
trees.
the corner of Gulfview was an apartment building, and that was the
Oh.
Perry's.
Seahorse.
Mike Perry.
Now is this
Seahorse.
is this
They're all torn down
bringing these buildings from Buckingham part of Bill's idea?
No,
Oh,
well,
that was my father.
well,
your dad's
his dad, his father was always coming up with these kind of far out ideas and doing stuff. He was very adventurous when he came to his investments. He would do strange things. And, but Bill helped him convert them into houses because, in apartments. Because
Yeah, here's what we're gonna do,
he
and you
just-
take care of it.
when
And
he-
then didn't you say that the white that you ordered some specific pine to build the floor?
Well, that was just on our, when we finished ours up. See, he had quit and left these 2 houses, just 2 shells just sitting there on Bayview Avenue. They were up on piling, but they were just looked like army buildings. They were olive drab wood, and they had old-fashioned windows and no porches or anything, no floor in them. And so he said, when we came back from University of Florida, he said, rather you renting some place that in a bad part of town because you can't afford anything better, he says, I'll just sell you one of these and you can pay me as you can afford to. And I think he must have loaned us a little bit of money to help Bill convert it from what it was into a dwelling place. But Bill got a job with Estero Manufacturing, which they were building. They were building aluminum
set up all
awning windows.
all the tools and equipment. Big drill presses, punch presses.
You guys know what it is you're talking about.
No, I'm
first.
listening. I'm listening.
Well, it was on San Carlos Island. Okay, go ahead. By the bridge. Go ahead.
When you went to the beach, you came to a wooden bridge.
I vaguely remember that.
Back then, it was a wooden bridge. And just as you came to the wooden bridge, headed toward the beach, on your left was a great big old white building.
Yeah, I remember it.
It was built
Flat,
during the
low.
war. The idea was that they would catch fish and make dehydrated fish.
Yes, I remember
Fish
this story.
dehydration.
The trouble with it was, they just ground the damn fish up and they got bones and all.
Oh my gosh.
And then they dehydrated it, and the bones came out like a piece of broken glass.
Now, is this
You
the
could
same?
not begin
Wait
to
a
get
minute, I thought it was the window factory.
Well, I was just gonna say, is this the same?
Yeah, the
There was a
building.
window
The
factory.
All
building.
right,
Became the
so,
window factory.
so
And
they-
then there was
the
a-
window factory took it over, and
But
some of the
you-
stuff was still in there from the fish dehydration. We
Yeah.
got it.
And then wasn't there a movie theater there?
No, we don't know about
No,
that.
no.
That's
Movie
beyond
theater
our
across the
time.
street.
Oh, okay.
I think that old building still had a major part of all the equipment in it. It was in there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure that the family from the Mount House also was involved in the window and the fish dehydration. Is that a long family, maybe?
Nope. No, sir. The guy that was in charge and owned the whole thing was
Sixtus
a
Campston.
man who was a Greek with the name of Sixtus Camp. His name was Sixtus Campedonius.
Wow.
And he shortened the name to just Campton. And he owned Christ, owned telephone companies and all kinds of stuff. And that was,
Now look, I remember when you went to work at the window factory.
yeah.
I remember not, I mean, it was too early for me to remember the
You
fish
can't remember.
dehydrating, but I remember the window factory very vaguely. I mean, I must have
You
been
were
little.
just a toddler.
You were little.
I have a very good memory. So I remember that, and then I remember the big fire down at the shrimp boat docks, and I mean, there's
See, I remember the fire. That was
Yeah.
in like the late 60s, early 70s.
no, we were still
See, I was a lieutenant
No,
on the
he
fire
was the fire
department.
Oh, because I remember, didn't something catch on fire?
Yeah, well, there's more.
Shrimp
fire
boat did.
down
Okay.
there.
And it took a
this
dock out too, but anyhow,
Yeah,
I was a lieutenant on the fire department and also on the fire commission.
and his cousin Walt Thomas was like the fire chief, wasn't he?
So we all rushed down there to try to put the fire out. And it was,
And the bridge was always dropping off the pedestal.
yeah.
There was a, you know,
Swing bridge, yeah.
yeah,
It
was always,
rotated.
and it was always dropping off the pedestal. People were getting stuck off the island. People were getting stuck on the island. Well,
Do you remember any of the bridge tenders' names? Because they have that all written down in the
the
archives.
bridge tenders' names, Dad. I wouldn't. I mean,
Do you remember the name Halleck or Townley?
Halleck.
The Townley family.
No.
Halleck.
Well, the bridge tender lived in a little house up at the foot of the bridge. Just a little bitty house. And out on the bridge, off to one side, was the outhouse. Out over the water.
Oh no, gross.
Right over the water.
No, no.
Well, to tell you what,
I know what you're doing.
one time
It's history.
the tide was going out pretty fast.
He's told me the story.
So we picked up our anchor and let the tide carry us through there. We got up underneath the outhouse with a saw. And where the
He's told me this story.
two befores out there, is where the seat was sitting on
He
it.
told me the story.
We cut the two befores all except for about a half inch. And
It was a bad
the old bridge tender goes out, walks into the end of the outhouse out there. And the next thing you know, here he comes with his pants down around his ankles.
Fell right through the outhouse.
Fell right through.